Let's charge the damn mound powered by Tiza. And let's go over the last manager spot that is finally filled. It took a long time for the San Diego Padres to figure out that Mike Shildt, who works for the club for the past couple of years, was the man for the job. Apparently gets it over Phil Nevin and Benji Gill and Ryan Flaherty, who also
Oh,
works for the team. But is that who you wanted, Todd Father?
I wanted my man Flash, dude.
I was. That's kind of how I was feeling, Frage. I was.
Is he
I,
too
I was kind of
young?
rooting for.
He's my age, 30. Well, I don't, Brock. I don't know how old you are. You're
I'm
younger than
35.
me,
I'm
right?
35.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm 35. We're
That
close.
stash makes give you
Yeah.
a little separation. You can go either
Yeah.
way. I like that.
Yeah. That's why I do it.
But yeah, I used to work out with Flash. He's a goofball. The players love him. I remember talking with Skip Schumacher when he was there. They made shirts for the guy. Like it was a good combination they had. I felt like bringing in a fresh new face that's young and ready to step up to the challenge, man. I know who he is as a person. I know he is a man. Listen, this is a Mike's a great manager. He's been there before. I get it, a veteran guy. But sometimes teams of this stature, how good they are, and maybe they need a younger guy to come in and kind of be like them a little bit, know what kind of they're going through, the growing pains of being young and dominating. And you know what? I don't know. I just thought it would be a better little flavor they could have had there. But hey, congratulations to Shildt. I mean, good pickup. But yeah, I was rooting for Ryan.
Yeah, Brock, what do you got? I mean, big age difference because Ryan, like you mentioned, is in his mid to upper 30s. Mike Shildt, I believe, is 50, in his mid 50s, I want to say.
Yeah.
Not that age is everything, but, it's certainly getting a little
Double.
sexy in the game again when you've got Dusty Baker, who obviously just now retired, but Ron Washington, Bruce Bochy just won a World Series. Shilt's age, he's 55 years old, taken over for Bob Melvin, who's also a veteran manager, which was really surprising the way that all went down, Brock. It was like AJ Preller comes out and he's like, yeah, Melvin's our guy. And then a couple weeks later, just kidding. We're actually sending him to one of our division rivals and someone else is going to be our guy. So this is the billionth manager that the current GM has hired. And this might be his last chance as GM of the Padres. He's had a lot of resources and San Diego's had okay success, not as much as they should have.
Yeah. Right. Melvin's our guy until he leaves us for San Francisco, and then we'll go out and we'll try and figure out who our manager is. But that's going to take an extra 2 months. And here we are with Shildt. I think it's a good hire. I mean, he's got experience. I think it was experience over the young fresh face like Flaherty. But I mean, I don't know that Flaherty was in the final running there. I think you heard rumblings that it was Shildt or who why can't I think of his name?
Nevin?
Shildt or Nevin. Yeah, Shildt or Nevin, the former Padre. But I think the hire's good. I mean, I think that team full of a lot of veteran players, superstar type players, and you need a face in there that kind of knows what's going on and how to approach things. And I think Shildt will do a good job. But I was team Frage, man. I was rooting for Flaherty just from playing against him. Loved the guy, and I think he would have been a good fit as well.
So the next layer of this is that there is some cleaning up to do, apparently, with the Padres and just figuring out how this team with so much talent can win. And yes, every managerial job is now filled. There ended up being, 8 new, not new, but managers in different spots, at least. Obviously, Council just goes from the Brewers to the Cubs, and Melvin, like we mentioned, going from the Padres to the Giants. But specifically on the Padres, how does Mike Shildt make this team a winner again after they didn't even make the playoffs based on how much talent they had? You look at the team and you're like, they were pretty healthy. A lot of their dudes performed. Blake Snell was the Cy Young. Machado didn't have his best year, but he's still, above average player. Juan Soto had a really strong year. Kim had a huge year for them and was one of the best players, especially defensively in the league. Like there was plenty to like. Gary Sanchez ended up coming on real strong with them. The bullpen wasn't great. It was a problem for them, but Shildt has been part of St. Louis Cardinals teams that were successful, and then he seemed to have some beef with the front office. But he took the team to 3 playoff appearances in parts of his 4 seasons with St. Louis, and he won Manager of the Year in 2019. So, just wondering if someone like that is a strong voice in the room and just switches things up, since he's been working for the team for the GM AJ Preller as a senior advisor for the past couple of years. Todd Father, if you're in this situation, like just take me inside the Padres clubhouse for a sec, right? You're there. You just were around a team that was super talented, didn't get it done. Bob Melvin's a respected manager. Here comes Shildt. Does that really make a difference?
I think it makes maybe a little difference just because it's a new voice. But think about going into spring training, as a new manager. I've always thought about this, even though I don't want to be a manager at all. Like, what would I say in like the first ever meeting I have with a new team? Like, what is Shildt going to say? He's going to come up, hey guys, we have the team to win. Look at everybody in this clubhouse. The same old song and dance? Or is he going to start, right from the get-go? Let's go. Machado, you're a leader. Bogarts, who's going to step up for this team and try and take us and let us fly with you and go dominate, because they do have all the pieces. Do they need some bullpen work? Of course, as we said, but at the same time, as a manager, you don't want to step on too many toes, but let them know you're there and let them know, listen, it's going to be a different regimen. It's win time, okay? And you guys are good enough to do that. We don't want any outside distractions. Let's keep everything in as a unit, and let's go out there and just freaking dominate.
We got a comment here, Brock, from the Beef in our YouTube chat, who said, I'm happy with Shildt. Last season was a shit show of chaos, and I can't watch another season of win a game by 10 runs, then lose a game 1-0 the next day. Need consistency. I agree there. I mean, I eventually just stopped betting on the Padres because I was like, this is too frustrating. They're either going to win 10-0 or they're going to lose 2-1.
Yeah, I mean, I think a new face, it's always like, it's it's like a new beginning. So I think that part is going to be something that's going to help. But I think this is more a player-driven thing than anything else. I mean, I think it's got to come within. Someone in that clubhouse has got to step up. They've got, like you said, they've got Machado, they've got Bogey, Tatis. Someone's going to have to step up, and this is going to have to be from the inside player. Like, hey, we've got to clean it up, and pick things up. And everyone knows they have the talent. Like I said, the new manager, the new voice will help, I believe. But I think this is more of a player-driven thing, and I don't see why the Padres aren't right back in it this year.
Yeah, and just to finish that, like, go out there and have fun, man.
Yeah.
Stop worrying about outside distractions. You got some dudes. I said it yesterday. Phillies have some dudes. San Diego, you got some dudes there. You got batters coming up left and right. Like, I got to face Soto. I got to face Bogarts. I got to face Machado, Cronenworth. Like, they got some dudes that can play, man.
Yeah, and you're in San Diego. San Diego. That stadium's sick. The weather's perfect all the time. Like, there's no reason why this team shouldn't be really good. So,
exactly.
Like I said, I think there's something that needs to happen from within, and I don't think it's a manager thing. I think it's a player thing.
Okay, So Brock, talk me through the other hire that's now official. Andrew Bailey taking over as pitching coach for the Sox.
Breslow, my boy Brez, is already making moves. He's cleaning up the pitching. That's what the Sox needed, right? Like, their defense and pitching is what kind of hindered them all year. And Bailey has done a great job with San Francisco. I played with Bailey, early in my career with the Red Sox. I don't know much about him as a pitching coach, but he's done a good job. Brez is familiar with him, and obviously thinks he can come in and turn the tide here. So I'm excited about that hire, and I'm excited about I'm excited to see, as a Red Sox guy, I'm excited to see what they do this next year with Brez at the helm, and how he can kind of turn things around.
Yeah, the Sox need pitching. I mean, they also need to pick up some pitching on the free agent market and act like adults in the room that make a lot of money. Okay, this isn't like, let's go with our lunch money to the middle school cafeteria and pick up some soggy French fries. It's time.
Nothing wrong with soggy fries.
No, it's time. Listen, you finished bottom of the barrel 2 years in a row in Boston. It's time to make some changes, and it's time to start climbing up a little bit.
Wait, Todd, sorry, I'll adjust it for you. Soggy pizza.
Ooh,
right? You're
all
not
right.
buying that.
No,
Nah.
that ain't
If you're
good.
rich and you can get a nice crisp piece, then you go get a crisp piece of pitching. No more soggy pitching for the Red Sox.
No,
Enough.
and Andrew's one of those guys where it's like, when I first heard he was in San Francisco, I'm like, all right, this is interesting. Like would have never thought. One of those deals, and now he made a name for himself again, and he's going. It's pretty awesome from him, and that's a big congratulations because I know the type of person he is, and he's well deserved. Keep going, big dog.
Did you play with him?
I did not. I know he's a Jersey guy, though, of course.
Okay, of course. There we go. He's in the fraternity. All right, so let's move on to Josh Donaldson, who came out and said quite simply, I'd like to play one more year and go out on a good note. Where do you think we're at with JD? I mean,
I'd like
obviously,
to play one more year too.
I was
Yeah.
just going to say that too.
I'd tweet it out. I'd like to play. Well, I'd like to play 2 more years to get to my 10 years of service time. So
Ooh.
if that's how it works, maybe I'll throw out a tweet and say, hey, I would like to play as well, and see and see who comes and bites. Takes the bait.
The Las Vegas A's. The Las Vegas A's might take you. You never know.
Hey, maybe so.
No, listen.
Well, they might be the Sacramento A's, but yeah.
Hey, they might be the Reno A's. I don't know what they're going to be, but I mean, listen. Everybody wants another year. I just remember thinking like when I was going to be done playing, like how will I know? And it kind of played out like itself. I don't know about you, Brock, but everything just played out. I was trying to find a team, the most frustrated I've ever been. I'm like, man, I know I could still play. The Pirates ended up taking me for one last hurrah. Only played, I think, no more. I think 20 games or 20 days. They released me. God bless. A week later, USA called me up again, said we're trying to make the Olympics. Come do the trials. I did awesome in the trials. I'm like, all right, I'm going to get picked up again. Never got picked up again. Went to the Olympics, got a silver medal, and that was kind of like my swan song. So I was very fortunate. Not many people are very fortunate to go the way they want to go, and I think that's what Josh is really trying to get after. I want to, try and make my path. If you say somebody does pick him up, he struggles that first 2 months, he's probably going to be gone. But, sign him for a year, give him $1 million or $2 million, and, you can't really hurt. If he turns out to be the Josh Donaldson of old, you got a monster pickup right there. If not, see you later.
Yeah, I mean, I think guys at the tail end of their career, they're looking to hang on. That's kind of how I was too. I was trying to hang on, and the reason I don't play anymore is because I wasn't good, and and it just wasn't fun for me. Like I always told myself, as long as I'm in the big leagues, I'm going to keep going. Everyone wants to get to 10. Obviously, that was a huge goal of mine, but it got to the point where, man, I just couldn't compete anymore, and baseball was just too hard. And so that's why I just decided, I was like, man, it's not fun being bad at what you're supposed to be good at. So it was a grind, man. The COVID year was a grind, and then 21 was a grind playing for the Rangers. And I just like, could I have tried to keep going? Yeah, but I got to the point where I was just like, well, you know what? I'm proud of what I've done. Let's go try something else. And like you said, Frage, it's like, a lot of people don't get that opportunity to go out on their own terms. It takes a special player, a special person to be able to do that. But like you said, you take a chance on Donaldson and see where he takes you. And
it takes a special person to understand and be realistic about life too, as well. Like there's other things to life. For me, I'm like, damn, this pitching is getting a lot better. Am I going to go up there and look like a fool every single time? But would I have liked one more shot? Yeah, hell yeah, I would have. But my body was also talking to me as well.
Yeah, that's why I got the cold plunge in the garage, dude. I don't need to recover from anything, but I just got to get the body ready to go, man, for just daily activities.
Carrying taking
the kids to school, going to the grocery store, all that good stuff.
How long do you stay in there for?
I like to stay 4 or 5 minutes.
Okay. And how cold is it?
I've got it set right now. The weather got a little. I was at 45 degrees. The weather went down, and I went up to 50. I'm in the 50s now, but I'm 50 degree, 49, 50 degree.
Okay.
And I'll sit in there for a good 4 minutes. Most every day. So.
Most every day. Okay.
Is that popular with the players?
Yeah, I mean, I I did it when I played, but I was just a put my legs in guy, just because it made my legs feel better. But some guys do it. I know the catchers like it a lot. But now that I'm out of the game, I've kind of read more about it and studied more about it, and there's a lot of science behind it and a lot of health benefits long term. So, I'm trying to be healthy, I guess now. I'm actually trying now that I'm not playing anymore, which doesn't make much
dude.
sense.
Same. It's ridiculous.
All right, so now I just want to kick it around big picture, and then we'll look at the Hall of Fame ballot that was just released. Give me a team you're excited to see make some moves this offseason, Brockstar. We can start with you because we haven't seen you in a minute, but is there a ball club that you're looking to make major moves? I mean, obviously this whole offseason revolves around Ohtani to start, but then, there's 29 other teams that aren't going to get him.
Yeah, for me, I think I'm excited to see what the Red Sox do. Coming off of 2 last place finishes, I'm excited to see who they bring in and how they're able to kind of build a new roster, or at least a new pitching staff, to kind of go with the offense that they had last year. I'm also pretty excited to see what the Rangers do after coming off their first World Series. Who do they add? How many do they add? Obviously they've been big spenders recently. So I think those 2 teams off the top of my head, I'm anxious to see what they do and how they maneuver through this offseason.
Godfather, you're going to say Yankees?
No, I'm not going to say Yankees. That would be an easy answer. I mean, who says the Yankees? I don't say the Yankees ever.
Never. Never talking about
I'm going to say the Orioles. I'm going to say the Orioles just because they have a lot of young guys coming up that can play. And they can play defense, they can play offense. I want to see if they're going to make a splash and go and get a couple pitchers here to help them along the way. They got in the ocean. They jumped in the water. They had a little taste of what can be. Now it's time to ride that wave out and see if they can finish the job. So I'm excited to see what the Orioles got in store.
Yeah, and you know what? I think they will make a splash, but it will be via trade. And because of that, I think there are only a few teams that have those top end starters, right? And we talked about them a little bit the last, few days, where Tyler Glasnow is likely to get moved. I don't necessarily see the Rays trading him within the division. Corbin Burns, I would say a pretty good chance.
I was gonna say the Brewers,
Shane Bieber, there's a chance that he gets moved, or if teams want to see him, pitch a little bit more to start the season, and then he's more of a midseason acquisition for a team. Dylan Cease is the one other name, and I know that the Orioles are all interested in him. They already have spoken to them during the last deadline. I just think those teams are going to hold him by the balls, though, because they're going to be like, we know you're not spending on a top-end starter, so you need to talk to us. And they have so many upper echelon, either prospects or young big leaguers right now, that I think they're going to have a difficult time putting a deal together. They shouldn't, but when you orchestrate a roster like that and you tank for 6 years, I think it's tough to give up the assets, especially when a team thinks that they have leverage over you. And, Baltimore needs, I would say, at least one kind of high-end starting pitcher to pair with Bradish towards the top of the rotation there, and Grayson Rodriguez, a veteran guy to bring in, or it doesn't have to be a vet, but like the guys I'm talking about that have been in the league, 5, 6, 7 years, that can join a staff like that. So I think there's a ton of pressure on them. I agree with you, Todd Father, to make a move like that, because we know for a fact they're not in a conversation on someone like Nola, who just signed. They're not in a conversation on a Yamamoto. They're not going to sign a Jordan Montgomery. They're not going to play at that part of the market,
Yeah, they haven't. So what makes anybody think that they're going to eventually do that? They've done it with some position players, but that haven't really panned out. But still, it's time. It's time for the Baltimore to step up here a little bit and figure out a way, even if that means giving up a couple prospects. They have a shit ton of them, but you had that taste. Like, that's such a good taste in your mouth getting in the playoffs. It's sour right now because you didn't finish, but make your way and get the job done here. At least give yourselves a chance to, and then you can look back and say, you know what, we did. We gave it what we had to do.